I am back for my February craft recap slash creative diary, and I am happy to report that this little creative project has indeed helped me detach from work, especially during my off hours and weekends. I'm noticing that those times are happily spent doing my little crafts and socializing and resting. And specifically, I have noticed a decrease in my worried thoughts about spreadsheets and emails or just anxious thoughts about work in general. Of course, those still happen from time to time, but maybe a better benchmark that I've noticed is I've gone from checking my work email a couple of times over the weekend to not at all. I've been very strict about that with myself, and that has been really cool to see myself stick to that boundary. So with that, here is everything that I crafted or made or just want to celebrate from February. First, I completed a sewing project. Specifically, I made a rough draft of this pattern for overalls by Vow. I started this project by taking some thrifted bed sheets and just making a test run of the overalls, which was a good thing because it turned out that the pattern was not very comprehensive, and I at least found it hard to follow. So the test run allowed me to make mistakes and experiment on fabric that I was okay experimenting on because it was cheap. And as I did this rough draft, I took notes on everything that I wanted to do differently. I took notes on things that were missing from the pattern, and I'm going to use it all in the final version that I do of these overalls. I now have my fabric for the final version, and I am so excited. They are going to be so cute with this green fabric, especially with this daisy striped pattern. I have already cut out my own pattern pieces for the final version, and I have made bias tape as well. So hopefully in March's video, I will have either more of an update on this project or a final product to show you guys, which would be really cool. Last month, I talked about how I made my own bias tape, and this month, I'm happy to report that I bit the bullet and bought a bias tape maker kit. This little device, the bias tape maker, is so incredibly helpful. This was a great purchase. I really like it for this project specifically because I'm getting much cleaner bias tape that I can use, and I also got fabric starch, so it's not only cleaner, it's easier to use, and the actual process of making the tape is going by much quicker. So specifically, I am spraying down my fabric with this starch, and then I iron the fabric flat before feeding it into the bias tape maker. The device itself folds the fabric perfectly, and then I just iron it down to maintain those desired folds. I will say one of my notes from the test run is that the original width of the bias tape was really small. So for this final version, I'm changing the bias tape width from 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. I think this will work better because the pattern has you cut out bias tape that is 1 inch wide already, and then when you fold it, they suggested that it becomes 1/4 of an inch, but I think 1/2 inch makes more sense. With this larger width, I have noticed that making the tape was easier and sewing it down was easier. So I think it was a good decision thus far. Also, there were a lot of other things with this pattern that I found disappointing or struggled with. Specifically, I found that the pattern was a bit disorganized and it was hard to follow instructions because they would be next to or near pictures that didn't quite make sense, and I didn't know what step the written instructions were referring to or what order that they wanted those steps to be taken in. That being said, I really like the outcome of the pattern and still think it's a beginner pattern because this is like the third thing that I have ever sewn, and I was able to figure out the missing steps, the unclear techniques, like everything that I needed to make the pattern. So I do think that a beginner could figure this out. It's just disappointing that you spend your own money on a pattern like this and then have to spend so much time on top of that just figuring out how to make the thing. Okay, second, I finished an eco brick this month. If you don't know what an eco brick is, this is a densely packed plastic bottle filled with plastic. It's a way to separate and sequester single-use plastics from the environment. They can also be used in building projects. I like making eco bricks because I know that my plastics are contained and not spreading out into the environment. And this month I finished an eco brick that I have been working on for almost a year, maybe a little over a year. I am really slow when it comes to cutting up the plastics and packing them into the bottle, but I'm really proud of this bottle because I did a before and after weight, and the empty bottle started at 21 grams and the final bottle now weighs 225 grams, which feels crazy. It's insane how much plastic you can fit into one bottle. And now I have a pile of plastic that I'm going to start putting into a second bottle. Next, I want to talk about the meals that I made this month. I took way more pictures this month than I did last time, so I'm really happy to show everything that I made. This includes a fish chowder, a Mediterranean lamb bowl, and baked salmon with broccoli and mashed potatoes. Last month I talked about how I wanted to remake the fish chowder and specifically try something that was heartier, and the second recipe that I found is so good. Not only was it heartier, creamier, but it had better spices in my opinion, and so the flavors turned out better. I really enjoyed this fish chowder. Plus, we had some buttered and salted bread with the soup, which made it even better. But I will say, I think my favorite meal this month was the salmon and broccoli. This is one that I have made before and keep coming back to, and it's because we get this marinated salmon from our grocery store, so it already comes marinated in sweet and spicy flavors. Oh, it is so good. And then just cooked over the broccoli with like some lemon, it is just like really good flavor, really easy to make. It's a great meal. My mouth is watering thinking about it. I have also been dancing a lot this month, but I haven't choreographed or like achieved some major goals. So instead of looking back at those types of metrics for dance, I wanted to talk about how many classes I went to this month. In the month of February, I went to 24 dance classes. And in comparison, in January, I went to 14. So I'm really proud that I went to so many. I essentially was consistent throughout all of February, going to 2 classes. I think it was Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of like every week, which is great because I take a lot of like strength and flexibility classes, and I am hoping to see some more like gains from that. I mean, I am seeing like some changes in my physique and some changes in my strength, but I have some specific skills that I want to achieve and get stronger for, and I haven't quite got that strong yet. Also, my boyfriend and I have been going to the gym together once a week, and that has been helping as well because we have been focused on the foundations, so push-ups, dips, squats, lunges, planks, and it's honestly really fun to just hang out with him and do a little bit of a workout and then come home and chill. Okay, for the final craft of February, I wanted to talk about my fanfic again. This month I posted 2 chapters that I have been working on, and the response has been so positive, and I won't lie, getting comments from internet strangers about how much they liked my writing was really helpful as I worked through some stressful and busy times at work. I think I said this last month, but it's a good reminder that I can make things that are silly, cringe, not perfect, and it can be something that someone else really enjoys. In fact, I got a sweet comment from someone wanting to make fan art of my fanfic, and I'm currently emailing them about it, and it feels so surreal and really exciting that someone is inspired by my creativity and therefore they want to create something. Like, it's so cool. I have started working on the next chapter for this fic as well, and I am slowly getting closer and closer to the ending in my mind, but at the same time my chapters keep getting longer and longer. So I have a clear end in sight, but I think the roadmap that I have planned out is probably not going to be what happens in the end. Okay, I'm gonna throw in a honorable mention for this month. My boyfriend and I had a cookie decorating competition as a date night this month, and here are some of the cookies that I decorated. It was really fun to just like do something new and of course be with boyfriend. I did find cookie icing to be hard to work with, as well as the sprinkles, but the challenge is always really fun. And thankfully, even the not so pretty cookies turned out really delicious. Okay, thanks for watching my February crafts recap. I'm going to say this again for my future self. You are so cool, you are so talented, and so hardworking. Love you, bye!